Welcome back, everyone. We are in the winners match of this group. The losers match will be happening on Emil's stream. That will be Soul versus Lambo. We're casting Bly versus ShoWTimE in a best of 3. Why is there a picture of Nate on the waiting page? Why not?
That's a great answer, actually.
Thank you. I tried really hard to come up with that answer. Anyway. Most of the casters did choose this match, but again, if you want to have both screens going, or you're actually a fan of Soul or Lambo, you can check it out on Emil's stream. First map for this, though, is going to be King Sejong Station. We'll be casting this, maybe what's ever left over, if Lambo and Soul go really long, and it's a Bly game, so maybe we'll go longer. And then the decider match to close out the cast today. Tomorrow we'll be back with a similar setup, though, 2 more groups at the same time. But here we are. It's game number 1. In the bottom right, as the Blue Zerg, he's Bly.
And of course, this is a fresh series, the winners match, and the first time either of these two have fought each other in today's group. In the top left, it's the red Protoss ShoWTimE. Now, you give me like another standard Zerg, you give me Snoot or Nurcho or any of these other really great dudes out there, and I can give ShoWTimE like some pretty good percentages to win this. This first map being King Sejong and the fact that Bly stayed at home makes me feel good for ShoWTimE already. But make no mistake, Bly's weird bullshit has beaten just as good. He 3-0'd Neeb not too long ago, right? Like, it's crazy this type of stuff Bly can get away with proxy hatcheries or otherwise.
Yeah, he can yield surprising results because of surprising games. Typically, lately, so the last like month, I would give ShoWTimE the edge, even a 2-0, especially if Bly doesn't do weird stuff, tries to play more of a normal Bly game. We'll see what happens on King Sejong. I mean, already there's no proxy, right, hatchery, that's already something here, but ShoWTimE does, I mean, he knows Bly, he knows he needs to keep up on the scouting. This probe won't be the end of it. I gotta ask, so I brought up, I guess, earlier off the cast, like, it must be soccer season, which is all year round, because once again my Twitter is full of Europeans talking about soccer. My Twitter feed is also full of Europeans complaining about the temperature, which I don't understand because it's in Celsius, but I assume it's really hot. Is it just all of Europe?
Yeah, Apollo, I think, is actually tweeting about it being 29 Celsius or something. I'm like, man, it's been 35 all week.
Yeah, so you have Red Eye, Apollo, the players in these games. I think Emil complained, Naruto complained, Thermal complained. Like, I know some of them actually are in the same area, so that counts for it, but like not all of them, right? Like,
I always think back to Germany. So like, for example, I know Germany is supposed to be great 99% of the year, but the 1 week we went to Germany was like the worst heat wave it had ever experienced in like 15 years. Yes. Unfortunately, that's how I just always view Germany in my mind now. Like,
just balls hot.
It's like the Sahara Desert for all I'm aware.
It's around that time. We went around July. Oh wait, no. Never mind.
It was just after WCS Toronto.
Right, that was actually July 4th. I don't know why I thought it was later in July. Never mind. But still, I guess now they're experiencing that heat wave now. Thanks to Vesuvius for the 5-month resub. Says keep it up. Thank you, sir. Bly is keeping up being Bly, as I did note on the camera. A Baneling nest. A 2-base Baneling bus versus a Protoss. This is less seen than versus Terran, and it's not seen all that often versus Terran.
But that's going to be one of the major points here, right? Like, Bly is going to go for something unorthodox. We kind of know that being him. And because this isn't so regular, maybe it works on ShoWTimE. The likelihood of this, not good, but look at the natural base as is. There's no second pylon to fall back to. There's no overcharge that's going to stop this from snowballing out of control. So if he breaks that first pylon and gets on in with those Banelings, he's going to run right for that mineral line.
Yeah. Hell,
he might even kill the Cyber Core or the Stargate instead.
Now, ShoWTimE knows something is up, but he might just think it's a regular Ling Flood, not a Baneling bust. The response is somewhat similar, however. You're going to want force fields, you're going to want more opportunities for Photon Overcharge, although Militia Core is really not that high up on energy because Stargate came out. And now he knows it's Banelings, so he's going to add on a more extensive wall. He also has the bank to do so. And sadly, with 2-base Baneling bust, like, you know, it's like, if it's scouted, there's not much reinforcements for it, you know?
There was
you don't
supposed to be
have the
another pylon
sentry.
behind that.
Yeah,
there was supposed to be another
be.
pylon behind that. Mistakes are made. Bly breaks right on in. He's going to try and wall this off at the gateway. Great moves out of ShoWTimE to stop this from getting worse, but he still has a problem that needs to be dealt with. 9 probes have gone down. So far for Bly, getting a lot of kills, but keep in mind, he doesn't have a lot of drones back at home.
Oh, I don't know about that probe.
Enough, though. He's down to 7 workers, 6
I
workers.
am actually surprised he pulled the probes. I guess he had to keep the Oracle the natural to get that gateway down. But I was trying to say, like, even if he busts, right, he actually gets on top of the units. There's a very slow follow-up to a 2-base attack. You know, there's not that much larva, but he gets on almost that sentry again. And I think he did do enough damage, you know? Like, if ShoWTimE was able to pull the probes away entirely and get the Oracle to clean up those 15-ish lings, and he holds on with, like, 18 probes, the game goes on. But to lose so many to the first wave is exactly what Bly wanted to do. And it's worked. But it's still tricky, you know? Like, 10 probes is not good. But Bly on 2 bases is also not good. He's running really hard right now. I think he's still in a really good position, but I'm curious to see how this game's going to go on. Usually the game ends one way or another.
Well, for Bly, I mean, getting ahead is one thing, but it's not getting ahead with 3 bases and a 4th on deck. It's not being ahead with 50 workers and spiraled out of control. But I think he's pretty safe in knowing that there's not going to be a counterattack, so this is his time to shine. This is his time to just drone like a madman. Go crazy. I love taking that 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Oracle can only do so much. I do like Stargates as a... Follow-up's not quite the right word. If you're gonna have tech against someone who just early attacked you, I think Stargate's a good tech to have. If you have Resonating Glaives, you don't have enough minerals to build enough adepts to make it scary. If you went for a Robo, like you're gonna have good observing, I suppose, but the Stargate's kind of the only thing that gives you the freedom of moving around the map, so at least you have some scouting and the potential to do like a little bit of damage without sacrificing the units. You really shouldn't be dying to Queens or Spore Crawlers. Maybe, I guess, the Templar... No, sorry, the Twilight Council could go to a Dark Shrine, but even then, like, it's stuff that might die, and right now, ShoWTimE has to use everything he can without ever dying with anything. Probes, sentries, adepts, never losing a single unit ever again. That's the only way he's gonna bring it back in this game. That's pretty hard to do, I gotta say. StarCraft has a lot of opportunities to lose units. Oh, Jesus.
So I was just looking at the calendar while we're waiting for things to pick up, and I realized that I know there's that difference between WESG and WCA that we gone over earlier, but I noticed WESG groups start tonight, or casting starts tonight, an hour before Codas. So you've got the Dubai qualifiers where they flew casters out to cast live.
Yep.
On a stream that nobody knows of, with GSL broadcasting over top of it.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
I wonder how much they actually tried.
So, it's interesting, alright. First of all, thank you to 6 Factorial. I don't think we saw that. 11 with resub.
Shout out.
Is clearing up Overlords, and things looking okay, but Bly's ramping up for another attack here. So, not okay for very long. It's always so interesting to watch Chinese events in general, I suppose, because WESG is the one that's sponsored by Alibaba, right?
Alibaba, yeah. So, I mean, they might not even care, like, because...
Yeah.
We see all these numbers on Team Liquid, but you guys never see the ones that are on the Chinese broadcast, so it might not matter that GSL's on. It's just really, as an avid fan, I guess, in the western side of the world, it's just weird to see.
It is.
It looks like a suicidal attempt at a broadcast.
Exactly. Like, anyone else does this, and you're just like, you're dumb. What are you doing? And still, I think they should be appealing more to the Western broadcast. But for China, usually it's just like, as long as China likes it, then this is all fine and worth it. Plus, it really is a very rich company. So
we need to get some Chinese hookups, man.
Right? Banelings were caught over here, so that's nice, but unfortunately, look at all these damn roaches. They're gonna have Burrow at some point during this attack, and look at ShoWTimE's army. I mean, just, it's so sad. It's so sad.
I know, it's crazy, though. It was a big risk from Bly. It was a huge gamble to kick this game off doing what he did. We talked about how weird it was and how unprecedented it was, and usually the reason builds like that are so weird and scarce and rare is because they don't work more often than not. And again, this goes back to like, has ShoWTimE had that extra pylon down? Maybe the gateway came down faster. There's a lot of reasons this wouldn't have normally done a lot of damage. So credit goes to Bly, first off, for making it work, but secondly, the follow-up, just fantastic. 85 roaches deep is nasty. Burrow coming up next, so even if his roaches get low, he can actually heal them up.
No.
The Disruptor is certainly alarming, but this is something he should not have to worry about dealing with, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing ShoWTimE's waiting on. He knows the game is basically over, but hey, maybe if the Disruptor can get like a super awesome shot.
No.
Oh.
Depowered briefly, going to get repowered again by the new pylons finishing up, but even if the Disruptor does get one awesome shot, the problem is it actually doesn't have the capability of killing all of the roaches, and that's the bigger issue here. Look at it. It does
sentries.
get an amazing hit, and it's still not enough.
Nah, and the Warp Prison wasn't able to do very much either. 7 probes for 7 drones.
Why burrow some of these one-health roaches, man?
Oh, he's kind of DMing, I guess?
No, you do the burrow between attacks, you heal up for a second. Well, it's uncool. It's like Zerg's stutter step, man.
I guess, but then he only did it twice, so... I would think the micro would have been worth it on what you were saying, which is to burrow the low health roaches.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing here. I'm not a pro Zerg.
I mean, either way, like whether he was trying to micro or was
sounded convincing
like,
though, right?
No, it did, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like Bly's done some cheeky stuff before. Talent Claw's also finished, I guess.
GG. Wow. Okay, Bly takes game number 1 off of ShoWTimE. Nice to see for Bly fans. Surprising to see for ShoWTimE fans.
Yep. Surprising for ShoWTimE too. Next map. Do we know the next map? Did they talk about it in chat? Next map is no, it's Frozen and then Galactic Process.
I guess more I could say the next map will be in 10 minutes. No.
Hey. Nah, they're already making the lobby.
Nice. Like Bly said, he's trying to bring us back on schedule, man.
Yeah, well, unfortunately.
The thing is, though, yeah, the other series will still be going on, like, no matter how fast this one concludes.
A bit, I guess people still don't know what the WESG is, and it's like a lot of flipping money.
$150,000 or something crazy.
I thought it was actually more than that. Hold on, I'm gonna go look this up. Oh no, you might be right. The LAN finals for Africa and the Middle East is worth $27,000. It's a $402,000 grand, like, overall prize pool. There you go.
I'm still sitting here kind of like, WTF, though, from the whole Stefano can play as a Tunisian or whatever.
That's so funny. Totally, like, do it if you can, right? He's at some very easy brackets here. He's gonna win so much money. But the overall tournament prize pool is insane, and unfortunately, yeah, you're not alone, man. Like, a lot of people don't know about this or know that it's even happening. I wasn't even sure what time it was happening, as it makes sense that it's happening more like a Chinese friendly time, but it's in Dubai. That's where the casters are, and it's a regional LAN. It's not even like the grand finals that this is all happening for tonight, I guess, and tomorrow night. You can look up more, I suppose, in the Team Liquid thread. But we're not casting it, so whatever. Here we go. In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, he is Bly.
Sure would have been nice to be flown out to Dubai, though.
I know, right?
In the upper left is going to be the red Protoss ShoWTimE.
I don't know much about Dubai, except I keep hearing about all the rich people, you know, that live there.
So have you not heard the most recent drama with Dubai?
Have I not? I guess not.
Really famous transgender YouTuber got denied entry, but like only after arriving type thing.
Oh, I did not hear about it. It doesn't surprise me from what little I know, but I did not hear about that, no.
It blew up pretty big. Like, it was, I guess, it's crazy to forget, like, because Dubai is this really rich, crazy, technologically advanced place, but it's still behind in the world in a lot of other ways.
Right.
Anyways, enough about that later, because Bly has put down a proxy hatchery once again. And ShoWTimE, this is kind of a bit of a miss, right? He just kind of looked like he was attempting to take his natural. I'm probably thought, I tricked them, I blocked them. And Bly normally puts the hatchery to the south, which is what that probe just checked for.
Oh my god.
Because 9 times out of 10 when Bly does this build, it's down there, but okay, sees it now, But can he really do anything about this? The Zealot gets chronoed. Last time we saw the Zealot with the pylon, it was actually placed one grid place over, and the Zealot got to nestle inside of it. That was kind of cool to see, like that Sim City, but unfortunately, I don't believe this is even going to necessarily stop this outright.
So it can be tricky when this is scouted early enough, and they didn't go for something extremely greedy, like a Nexus first or something, right? Because if they can't get the spine crawlers up, then it's already so much easier for the Protoss player. I've actually seen this hardcore denied because the spine crawlers literally couldn't get up. The Queen was able to spread creep, the drones all died, like I forget exactly what happened, but it was pretty bad. You need the spine crawlers. It's the whole point of this build.
Yeah, and the idea too with this Zealot is like it has to now pick and choose. You either keep attacking the hatchery or you try and shut down the spine crawlers. And if you try and shut down the spine crawlers, Bly kind of ends up playing whack-a-mole, where he'll cancel one, build the other, cancel another, build another. As long as he doesn't mess this up and forget to cancel. Oh no!
He does not have a lot of minerals to do that with.
Well, not only that, but he loses the drone. You're not getting another one over here very easily anytime soon.
Oh, this is kind of reminiscent of the last time I saw this fail as hard. This is
the Queen's actually not going to get out of the camera either, so that's it.
It's a complete...
essentially held and won.
Yeah, he's essentially won. It has been a complete failure. You might say, like, we don't have a Nexus, so, like, how bad can it be? Oh, I didn't even see you got a Forge. It's funny. No, it doesn't... Like, Bly has to not only get a hatchery, mind you, back at home, but ideally, you know, one base up as a Zerg player, he's also got to fit in a third base. He's got to start droning after making so many lings that were supposed to help out the spine crawlers. It's terrible.
Well, thank you to Fractal Cackle for that 19-month resub while the action was going on. It says, keep up the great work. And then writes something in garbage. I don't read garbage, I'm sorry. The Lings take out the pylon. There's not really a lot these guys can do, though. You know, the Zealots that were made, the Sentry, the Force Fields, there's just no way Bly gets to use these Lings, unfortunately. They can scout, and they can maybe check if ShoWTimE's moving out at a certain time, but beyond that, it's kind of their limitation. Maybe gonna elevator them up to the main, but already the Overlord up there is under attack from ShoWTimE, so unfortunately Bly is just being shut down at every turn. I love that Bly, by the way, he doesn't do a proxy hatchery the one time and he wins. He does his pride proven build, the proxy hatchery, and gets shut down. The hardest we've ever seen it shut down.
I lately have been liking it versus Terran more than versus Protoss, actually. Even though we saw Bly use it 3 times in a row against Sneeb to win, it still seems like the possibility of what ShoWTimE did is a little too great. And anyway, it's over and done with. Bly's in a terrible position. He's trying to make up for it with some, you know, probe kills. Consistent probe kills over a long time. Could bring him back in the game, but it's the slow Overlords. They're already injured. A Stargate's on the way, and ShoWTimE's really going to make sure that, you know, drops do not catch him off guard. I mean, go for double Stargate. It's going to clear up Overlords, obviously, and that's great, but they're also going to just, I think, roll over Bly, because he don't have that much anti-air. He hasn't had hatcheries to build queens from. He can barely afford to build all 3 queens and drones and an upgrade for his lings. Yeah, ShoWTimE eventually is going to have a much better looking game. That doesn't look so bad now. But
I didn't think he was actually going to lose anything to this. Losing 5 probes, nice for Bly. I mean, the work account bridged a little bit through it, obviously not the end of the world, and there's about a million other things going well for ShoWTimE, but it's nice to see him actually make the best of a awful situation. I mean, for the game to have been shut down like this.
This Phoenix scouts the intention for the drop, first of all, but of course it's all that, but also for the +1 melee. That's gotta be what that losers for, if it's moving and grooving. ShoWTimE, oh, I thought he was gonna wait for the Phoenixes to help this out, but he's just gonna move across the map with the Adepts, realizing that's probably the only Lings Bly had or will want to ever get, because he still needs to be droning fairly hard. No queens, I already mentioned that, so nothing really to help out. And should the Adept get into a mineral line, this could be very deadly. But they're not going to go for it. They're going to scout, see what they can. Looks tempting? No. Overlord's finally being picked off, like I said. And Bly knows double Stargate, but there's not much you can do about it.
Well, I guess if you guys ever lose to builds like this, it's not just about shutting down the initial, it is about all of your proper follow-up, so make note that this is something where ShoWTimE didn't have to rush across the map and immediately shut Bly down, but he's not actually doing so great. fact, the Adepts all going down is pretty devastating, and the +1 melee weapons are going to guarantee Bly can take any other decent fights here in the scrappy early game.
Yeah, I really wish ShoWTimE had waited for his Phoenix.
I agree. I think going a little bit too soon was the difference of being able to shut down that base versus not. I mean, they would have only lifted up a couple of links here and there, but it still would have been the difference of those Adepts living versus dying. 1 escapes instead of 5. Bailing is now on the way, and Bly actually is taking no drone damage. There we go, finally. Getting to that mineral line.
I was gonna say, or the Adepts get scouting like they did and then go to the third base, and while the Phoenixes can't help them out that much versus Lings, they go to the natural and pick up drones, you know? Because there wasn't any Spore Crawlers. But over time, Bly impressively has gathered quite a few queens, so they're not going to be freebies, and they're going to gather more transfuse energy as well.
Ugh. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
And ShoWTimE, I think he could have had a better looking game. This is actually starting to look a little bit even, which is very worrying.
Yeah, I mean, I think the drop really caught him off guard. The pros being pulled the way they were, the fact that he lost 5, it frazzled him, and it's not like that one drop was what killed him, but maybe that really screwed up his thought process of thinking like calmly, and again the Phoenix at the same time as the Adepts or whatever the case may be.
It was the combination, I think, of the probe losses plus the Adepts that didn't do what he wanted, plus the choice of Phoenix, which the Phoenix might be the deceiving part about the supply. They are very useful in key scenarios, so it's not like they're wasted and this is totally ShoWTimE falling behind, but they're not immediately obvious. They're not 20 Adepts. They're not 4 Disruptors of damage here. And they can be overwhelmed by Lings specifically, so I think it's a combination of all those 3 things. Maybe the Phoenixes don't help out like ShoWTimE wanted them to. That could lead to ShoWTimE still losing this game. Even supply is not great for Zerg, but Bly's really bringing this back.
Yeah, and I was going to mention too, the creep spread looks great as well. Like, there's just so much control for Bly in many different fashions, but the creep spread is kind of nice for these queens explicitly, because so you're trying to chase these units around, you can't afford to be caught on normal ground.
Mm-hmm. Be a lot of
by the way, it's occurring to me now, I don't know what makes queens move faster on creep or not, because they don't slide around on creep, right? They make the exact same walking motion and the exact same muscle movements off of creep as well.
I figured it's easier for their talons to kind of dig in, you know?
Like, maybe it's like, you know those shoes that have the wheels in them, but they don't look like they do until you see that kid rolling down the hallway?
No. I would say it's more like when you're on ice having spiked boots.
Mayhaps be, but that's better traction, not speed.
Instead of like slippers. Well, I think that they all, like, yeah,
now I'm just picturing, I don't remember what that movie is, but you know where the kid just slides into the room in his white shirt and underwear, like...
It's not about the queen slipping, it's about them being careful about not slipping. That's why they go slower off of creep.
Or maybe, and I think this is the most logical one.
Okay.
On creep, you know what the creep's made out of, you know everything about the creep, but off creep, you don't know what's there. That could be spiders you're stepping on, so they gotta be very careful while tiptoeing around. Because they don't want to step in They don't want to step in spiders.
They'd be scared of spiders, you're right.
Even Zerg is scared of spiders. Don't pretend like they're not.
Yeah,
Kerrigan's probably like only into Raynor because he can save her from the spider under the sink.
Clearly.
Destroyer of galaxies, but can't touch that spider. Ugh.
Thanks to LoveTool SC2 for the 10-month resub.
With a nice message attached to it. Says, oh my god, you guys, top awesome with a heart.
Thank you. So, yeah, this game is really evened up. Bly is a bit of a bank now, it just uses it, so now he has a supply lead, as you would usually see from the Zerg player. He has a bit of an upgrade lead, too. In fact, more than a bit. ShoWTimE stopped his upgrades. So Bly's gonna have 2-1 over just the 1. The Phoenix count has been culled over time. And, actually, well, I guess he never had that many to begin with. So he had 9, like 10. And he lost 5. Still halved, right? That's pretty good. Halved and halved.
Hyped.
Calf and calf.
Oh my god, your calf is half your leg.
Oh!
Alright, so the link count is actually kind of funny to see. We thought about this earlier. Unfortunately, Storms, if done well, are going to deal with the Lings and the Banelings no problem. I'm actually really curious on that dynamic of the balance test they have for the next iteration of patches, where if the Banelings have 10 more health, does that mean they can actually survive rolling through a storm? Obviously, if anything sits in a storm, it's going to have a bad time, but I'm talking rolling through it.
It'll help. I think you'd have to get
'cause
some very serious
right now, I don't
testing
actually
going
think you
on.
can escape a storm unless you're already like most of the way through
Most
it.
of the way out of it. Yeah, that it would have to be very specific. Like if you're halfway through, can you get out of it? If you're entirely the way in, like I don't know.
Oh lord, as if we need more reason for banelings in this matchup.
Hey, I love banelings. I love this so much more than Roach Ravager.
Me too. Who am I kidding? +2 weapons is done, by the way. So all these banelings that he's loaded up for carpet bombs will one-shot probes. But Bly has not gotten speed yet, so he's got to wait for that to finish, as the Phoenixes will easily catch any Overlords that try to move out.
If Bly wins this game, I'm not even like I don't even know. Like you're really supposed to just lose the game after the proxy hatchery fails.
Shout out to Ronan, dude. Risky business. Thank you so much. I was trying to remember what the movie was called.
Wait, what did you even quote for that?
About the Tom Cruise or whatever comes sliding out on the wooden
Oh,
floor.
yeah,
With, like
yeah.
this white undies and shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, the attack does go off. Lings managed to sneak into the main while this goes on, but this is a big amount of units. So it's getting stormed hardcore. Oh god, Fly. He doesn't even manage to kill the Templar with the Corrosive Bows. He just loses all of his buffer. He does send a couple of banelings in, and he's trying to reach for those Templar, but there's more storms where that came from, so going back in anytime soon is going to be dangerous. There's still Archons on top of all this.
Yeah, it's a problem that without even the banelings collide, there's still so many good units left over for ShoWTimE that I don't think just Ravage is going to cut it. He needs a Ling Flood in here as well. Storm's still available, though, in case it does happen. It is happening. 72 Lings are on the way. Remember, he has really good upgrades. 2-1 versus what is now 2 for ShoWTimE, but unless he can deal with the splash units and spells, his army's not good enough. What? Seriously? Yeah, we're going to do something one day. Banelings came into the natural as well to collect more probes. It's pretty good. This one did nothing, basically. Base is going to go down, but Bly's on 4 bases, and he could replace the 5th down to the bottom left. Ling attack is set up, banelings are being formed on the defensive, and ShoWTimE is walking onto creeps. He's going to be extra careful with those High Templars.
It's hard not to, though. Creep takes over 70% of the map at this point.
These Ling attacks, man, I think Adrenal Glands, I think, are going to be so much more effective, but even without them, actually, with 2-1,
right side
tearing down the
banelings
cannons.
rolling in, looking for the attack. The Templar are so far away, but the Storm's actually not so great. They're actually killing a lot of the Immortals.
No matter what, though, the banelings are going to be rolling into Archons and Immortals, so, like, what is...
To a degree, it is, so what, but if he does take out that big cluster of units, keep in mind, that's like the expensive part of his army. That's the hard to replace part of his army.
Yeah.
I mean, Bly's down in armies to fly. It's going to be hard for him to fight no matter what. But it's better to have to fight gateway units going forward than continued Immortals and Archons.
For as many times as Bly's made and lost Lings and Banelings, I didn't expect him to have such a big bank. He was almost at 2,000. So, yeah, I guess it is going to be a lot more important for ShoWTimE to still take very smart engagements and not just be like, okay, split the Immortals, take the Baneling shots, let's do this.
Is it Larva? He's Larva hungry is what's going on here.
Yeah. That makes sense, even though he's on 5 hatcheries.
Well, he's also not banking perhaps intentionally. I want to point out he has been upgrading air weapon upgrades this whole time and now moving on to Hive, and we don't see any use of air units at all leading into this or now even. So Bly's got plans.
He's got plans.
I mean, I gotta imagine it's Broodlords, but he's got plans. No, it's Mutas! It's a lot of Mutas!
Ah, okay. Well, this could be dangerous. So ShoWTimE, he has Storms, he has Archons.
Now it's really interesting because there's going to be 2 huge dynamics to this. You said so what earlier to the Banelings hitting the Archons? Now he's got to throw everything he can to take out those Archons, so there's no anti-air for the Mutas. Alternatively, the Mutas may be able to back attack, snipe the Templar, and make it easier for Bly on the front for the engagements. Or maybe it's just a straight-up base trade. Either way, these Mutas add a really cool dynamic to the possibilities of this game.
The way this might go is the Banelings crash in, try and take out the Archons, because that's probably what they're going to hit. And the Mutas come in. If they don't or aren't able to, like they get stormed, then Bly's only chance is going to go for the base race, which I don't think is going to go that badly. Storms do hit the High Templars, but only after the Banelings hit the High Templars, but after the Storms hit the Banelings, so all the Archons are still alive. Mutas cannot take on what is 7 Archons, but they can go around 7 Archons. ShoWTimE did start off with 2 Stargates, and he's trying to build more Phoenix here, but I think it's going to be in a base race territory. Bly was trying to get extra bases, but they were denied by Zealots, and that's already a worse start for him.
Yeah, he had tried to take down that bottom left one. I think this was some intentionally try to go this direction with the game. But unfortunately, while he is losing out at home, he's not doing too badly on the other side of the map. That +2 weapon upgrades looks like it's going to get a chance to finish as well. And if there was 4 to 12 Phoenix, there's different than the initial just 2 that have spawned. Bly could and should get on top of that production.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a little worrying that the Stargates are not unpowered yet, but ShoWTimE is having a mineral problem anyway, so...
They're both having a mineral problem. They're both having a huge crisis.
Yeah,
Bly,
yeah.
if he's got no minerals, can't build hatcheries and extractors and other things to prolong the game.
He cancels so many mutas as he realizes it, too.
Yeah, he needs
what
the
really
money.
sucks is that, like, if he had leftover banelings, if he had... Oh, Jesus.
Okay, now he's got a couple. He can't fight those Archons.
Yeah, he
That's a
can't.
certainty.
Yeah, I mean, he can magic box them, but he'll lose too many mutas.
Well, he only lost 3 so far, so he still has a lot in play. 26 still on the map. The problem is, though, catching 2 Archons at a time, 3 Archons is even questionable. 1 Archon is what all these mutas can afford to take on at a time. Oh, get one over here. That's nice.
Oh, Zelda.
Has he built anything else elsewhere? Does he have anything outside
no.
of these last couple buildings?
Whoa, no.
No, that's it.
That's it.
GG. I want to point out, by the way, that wasn't like rude or blind not to type GG. He wasn't given the opportunity. The game came to an abrupt finish.
He canceled mutas, I thought, specifically to build stuff, and then he rebuilt the mutas. It was very odd.
That's what it looked like, yeah. Maybe he just didn't like the placement of the larva because it was under where the Archons were. I don't know.
Oh,
but
maybe.
Either way, that will give ShoWTimE a chance to take this to another match.
Yeah, yes it will. I mean, in one hand, it was almost not quite deserved, but you killed a proxy hatchery. You think you're gonna win. It just took 16 more minutes.
I forgot that was ShoWTimE who should have won this game at the 3-5 minute mark. It took it to what, 17, excuse me, minutes.
The last map is Galactic Process, I believe, but of course we're gonna take a quick break. See you guys soon. So Riffin's be right back. Interesting development. ShoWTimE is confused. So he said GG, and Rifkin and I were just like, oh, he must have meant to say, like, damn, that was a good game, you know? But then ShoWTimE logged off. Okay, good, he's back. Did ShoWTimE think that he lost? But then even if he did lose, it'd be a decider match. Because he comes back, thank God, but then he says, oops, lol. I don't... Oh my god, he actually thought he lost that game. Or that he... Oh no, he thought that he won. He thought he won 2-0. That makes more sense, because if he did win 2-0, then he would have been done for the day. Okay. Well, that was almost silly. So I guess he forgot that first game went the way it did, because it was maybe so quick. The first game wasn't really that quick. It was actually quite drawn out, but... Alright, first game, Bly did win with a Baneling Bust. Second game, Bly lost with a Proxy Hatchery into a very long game. And we're gonna get into Galactic Process, since everything is finally fixed. Boy, am I getting hungry. So one good thing about casting is that, maybe you notice that you're hungry. That's always the worst. That is terrible, but you can't do much about it because you gotta sit right here. We're ready to go into Galactic Process. It is the last game between Bly and ShoWTimE in the winner's bracket. The winner's match, whoever wins this is done. They're advancing to the round of 8 that is going to be played out on Saturday. Whoever loses will be facing the winner of Lambo versus Soul, which is going on a meal stream, if you want to catch that. Alright, tied up 1-1 in the bottom left as the Red Zerg. He is Team Experts Bly. Needs to get that clan tag going. And top right as the Blue Protoss. He's ShoWTimE. If any of you have watched the movie Paprika, it's an animated movie. That's all I ever think of is the clown coming out of the clown car and saying, it's ShoWTimE, whenever I introduce this guy. I'm guessing that's why he chose the name, though. I don't know why Bly chose Bly, but Bly be Bly all the time. And this drone, man, buddy, Galactic Process. You know, you think about the maps that he's ever proxy hatcheried on, Dusk Towers, Ruins of Endion, Ulrina, Frozen Temple, King Sejong. I think that might be it. point is, you don't see a proxy hatch in the same vein on Galactic Process. I mean, we already put it. Maybe he can sneak in over here before the wall comes down. I don't think that's actually possible because the pylon goes down before then. So you might think you're safe from Bly's shenanigans, but you're wrong. Galactic Process is what... This is what he does on Galactic Process almost every single time that we've seen him on it. So the question now is, one, when will ShoWTimE realize something is up? Because he is not scouting with a probe to be like, hey, wait a second, where's your natural? Two, what type of attack or defense macro game is Bly going to play? Is it going to be just using this as a gold base, or is it going to be using this as a jumping off point and a gold base, you know, so you need less drones? Because both options are available. The same thing was available on Overgrowth, if you guys recall those months where the gold base being taken was very, very popular. Thank you to Fothu for the 8-month resub. But yeah, what's interesting is that I think this might be the first game where we don't see the Protoss scout. So by now, usually the probe's here, saying like what's going on, checks here, doesn't know what's going on, maybe like an emergency scout off to the left in case you think they might have proxy hatched. And then to the main base to see the Roach Warren. Like really, some scouting is done by now. Like all the scouting is done by now. And typically we see Bly go into a lot of droning. That might be because he is scouted. Knowing he's not scouted, because I think he would have seen the probe at some point, you know, chilling around here. Now he knows he's scouted. Is this the reason to go for the attack type of gold base? Is this the reason to go for very, very early attack with it? Because every other game where he's been scouted, he's bothered droning up. He's bothered getting to a third base, even though it's not that many drones. This game, he goes right into the attack. But these adepts are really screwing him up. I mean, he was already on a super low drone count, but to go down to 9 drones is devastating. Those adepts did so much damage. And ShoWTimE got the scout. Dear God. I don't think Bly... The problem right now is that Bly might look really dangerous right now. Like, oh my god, units, I wasn't expecting this. No Mothership Core, oh god. There's nothing to follow this up. He should have 3 roaches and 4 lings with every wave coming forward here, but instead it is just this. This is nothing impressive. It's kind of cool he killed the pylon. If he hadn't lost those drones, I'd be hyping up right now, but more pylons are on the way. This Mothership Core, should the Queen take any damage from the Adepts, will be free damage for ShoWTimE, and of course it has a Photon Overcharge available. So, I think ShoWTimE's got this. I think ShoWTimE's got this. Bly has been using the attack as kind of a cover for droning, but look how... This is not the fastest droning in the world here. Finally, 8 drones on the production tab, but he's been around 10 for so long. ShoWTimE, of course, has been fairly comfortable building probes while defending. Thanks Stilma 7 IC Stillmatic for the 15-month resub. What up? Hello. And all ShoWTimE has to do now is wait until Resident Glaives, I would say, and a Warp Prism. Resident Glaives and a bunch of gateways, or Resident Glaives and a Warp Prism, either one. I think he'll win with the push. He knows by now, by the way, that the gold base has been taken. Like, it's obvious. He scouted the natural, he sees the creep spread, he knows the deal. He probably doesn't face it too often on ladder, but if you face blind ladder, you probably had to deal with this. And then, I guess there's worse news. More Adepts going into the main base, and lanes aren't quick. They're not speedy. So the Adepts are gonna get more drones here. Thanks to Axiak for the 8-month resub.
Woohoo!
Hello.
That was my indicator that I'm back, if that wasn't obvious.
I heard you and your chair noises.
So in the bottom left side of the map, I see that this game has gone about as expected. Bly doing the gold base instead of the straight up proxy.
Yeah, unfortunately, is quite dead. Adepts got in the mineral line so early on, killed so many drones, and
I see that working out. Feels bad, man.
Has not been able to recover. Where ShoWTimE really took very minimal damage. A pylon went down. 2 pylons went down. My mistake, but that's about it. Resident Glaives is almost done. I'm surprised you went for the Immortal instead of the Warp Prism, but I guess maybe a little more concerned about a follow-up all-in. That is one thing about Bly. He all-ins, and then he does it again, and then a third time. He's got that Protoss motto. Except he's
One good all-in deserves another.
And it can sometimes surprise you when you think you're all hunky-dory and you're really not. But seriously,
that's a discussion we need to have sometime. What does that mean?
Hunky-dory?
I use it too all the time as A-OK, right? But like, where did that come from? What does it mean?
Sounds very southern.
Really? I was gonna say European, but yeah, I guess it's more southern than European.
Hunky-dory does not sound sophisticated enough to be a European word, and I'm even including like
Swedish
German
chef
words
would
in
come
here.
up with a phrase like that, like
Really?
hunky-dory.
When you say it like that, I was like, European language has some like really messed up words, especially German. German has like words that are too long, but they don't sound dumb like hunky-dory.
No, but German words sometimes sound like they're sneezing.
Gesundheit.
Oh my god. Maybe that's why they say it. It's like if in English you sneeze and I was like, sneezing! Like I'm
It's like
calling
a
you out on
Pokemon.
it, but they're like, Gesundheit! I caught you! Why takes another gold base? I mean, I guess
it's
if you've got
amazing.
2 bases with low workers, you want them both to be gold. I can kind of get behind this logic of recovery. But what's interesting to me, sorry, is I stop being silly for just 1 second here, is there's so many Ravagers. The danger of this many Corrosive Biles is definitely justifiably keeping ShoWTimE back.
It is, yeah. I think ShoWTimE, maybe in a different situation, would have realized, like, okay, maybe I can't break out of this, and would have gotten to a third base a lot quicker. Or, like I said, a War Prism, whatever. But it took him a little bit, you know? Maybe he thought, like, oh, I can break out of this. Oh, okay, maybe I can't. So his third base is only just now on the way. And he saw the gold, but he can't really do anything about it. I really think he can, though. I feel a little obnoxious, keep telling him to make
Some
a...
should be able to shade over if they really need to.
A depth shade
big
over
fight
or a
gonna
War
come
Prism.
up on the ramp, though.
Oh, the Curse of Biles hit the Immortals, and that takes a lot of health away. In fact, one last hit from a Ravager takes one of them out.
ShoWTimE's army supply goes from being pretty nicely ahead to kind of evened out now with Bly.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go back to that War Prism. I realize that he still knows he's in danger. He's like, shit, this army could still take me on, especially if I screw up like that again. But a Warp Prism could have Adepts just bulking up right here even, you know, tag in, tag out. It's not the case, though, and Bly, he's not exactly catching up. He still is only on 30 workers for a very long time, going up to 38 now.
Gonna break in, but the Curse of Biles don't matter if they're all dead! Oh my god, he just lost his whole army to that Disruptor shot!
Oh, that's about it, though. That's
gotta
about
be
it.
game.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
okay,
mean...
here's plus side, this is winner's match, so Bly still got another match to fall back to. But dang, that was nasty.
It was super gross. He was almost, if he didn't get overeager with that attack and he kept on containing ShoWTimE, he could have gotten to maybe like 45 drones on 2 gold bases, not too shabby, and he might have had this really powerful Mutila switch. Because ShoWTimE was not getting much scouting done, but now the opportunity is lost. ShoWTimE absolutely knows he can win. He doesn't have to be worried about Curse of Biles anymore. He doesn't worry a little bit about the Mutas taking on this army, but he backs off anyway.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, I don't actually think Bly could, like, with 7 Mutas, stop this many sentries and stalkers. It's such a small amount of them, too. People saying you're sneezing is basically like you saying kill me. Come on, guys. Sometimes once in a blue moon, I can actually make her laugh. Like, I shotgun enough bad jokes, 1 in a million.
That was really funny. I'm surprised with how many people claim I fake laugh. They haven't actually learned when I do that.
Yeah, Zombie doesn't pay me. Just patronize me. Sometimes I wish she would. She doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, well, unfortunately for Bly, even counterattack damage being limited here to 5 probes. He's on 1 gold base, he's got no supply. He probably won't tap out anytime soon as it's Bly after all, but game 3, match point, certainly going to go to ShoWTimE.
Yeah, Muta's trying to do their best. Honky Dory was the lyrics of a song in the 1860s. Is it actually really depressing, like Ring Around the Rosie then?
Honky Dory is like secretly about like segregation or something. Oh no.
Oh no.
For those who don't know the context here, the plague was about, or Ring Around the Rosie is about the Black
Yeah.
Plague and everyone dying.
Yo.
So it's not.
Okay, this is like not related that much, but about songs, we watched The Last Mutas die a horrible death. I didn't realize that, I guess, I'm like still not sure if the documentary was trolling me or not, which it probably wasn't, but that hip-hop, the name hip-hop actually came from the song that goes like, a hip-hop, hippie, like that type of song, you know? That's actually...
hopping to the hip-hop.
That's where the name of the genre came from, because people would like go in and be like, where's that hip-hop song? The more you know.
I would love if that's actually true. That would be so funny if that was actually the case.
It was one of the first songs with that type of beat, I guess, in the late 70s, but... Alright, that game was over for a couple of minutes, but it finally actually ended. Bly will go on to face Lambo, apparently. Lambo defeated Soul.
Oh, that other series is done already?
Well, actually, those are fairly long games.
I guess you're right. Yeah, the second game was really drawn out. They didn't register in my brain.
Yeah, even the first game, for being a Baneling bust, was pretty long. So we're gonna get into that. They have to do the vetoes, so they go a little while longer. But congratulations to ShoWTimE for advancing to the round of 8. We'll see you Saturday, and on to Bly vs Lambo.